want some content? I got hot shit, but I'ma leave it to messy to gossip. Smash the like button, drop some comments, share this video, shout out to my subscribers. Let's get it on the next episode. Swahili TV, it's the Megaphone with Russell Norman. Support the channel.
Now, you hear that from actors and actresses a lot, directors. What does that mean exactly in this instance, how he helped you emote and give those emotions to the, on screen? How did he help you? Like, what does that really mean in the literal sense?
Okay, life.
Mm-hmm.
Acting is living.
Indeed.
And he took emotions and we respond from emotions. We get a signal and we respond from it. Emotional response.
Right.
And he took control of my emotions through his voice, through his actions, and he created this springboard for me to work with and led me emotionally, one emotion after the other, into who this character was, so that I embodied it. He took my body and he said, right now you're too straight. I want you over. I want you, because you're tired. You're very tired. And you're very worried. Where is your son? He has a gun. What is he gonna do? You gotta find him. And I'm sitting there going, yes.
Right.
Right, and that's.
I'm looking around right now. I'm like, where your son at?
And that's how he led me.
Okay.
Into that character.
Speaking of characters, was it Olympia in Chi-Raq?
I don't remember the character that I had in Chi-Raq.
I want to, that's interesting you say that. I wanted to ask you, what do you think about, first of all, I think director Lee, Spike Lee might be my inspiration to being a filmmaker. And, I'm proud to be an award-winning filmmaker. And
the Alliance gave you an award.
Yes, and I wanted to thank you so much because you validate me, Dr. Taylor. I love you for that, and I definitely wanted to speak on the African American Arts Alliance of Chicago. It is my favorite alliance in life, and I was nominated for an acting award and a directing award, or most outstanding film of the year for Hell Ain't Full in 2010.
Right.
And I've been wanting to meet you ever since then. So, this is just completely a dream for me. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And thank you for that, because I feel you're personally responsible. So thank you for that.
I'm not, but okay.
Oh, we gonna say you are. If anybody asks, I'm gonna say Dr. Taylor gave you that award. I wanted to ask you about the controversy with Chi-Raq. I'm sure you remember.
Absolutely.
Could you tell me about your thoughts on that and like everything that happened? Because people say to Chicagoans it wasn't exactly well received due to the moniker Chi-Raq sounding like Iraq or Iraq, meaning people, are at war, and a lot of other things. So can you tell me about some of those things? Was it tension on the set? Was it tension afterwards? And how was that experience?
First, I want to say that I think Spike Lee is one of the greatest directors that we have.
I agree.
His early films were just outstanding. And his Malcolm X was.
Yes. That's the one that did it for me. It brought a tear to my eye. That's like the first film that ever made me actually shed a tear for Brother Malcolm.
Mm-hmm. So the things that he has done, the history that he has made, the path that he has paved for others is wonderful. But no one's perfect.
Exactly.
And sometimes we have hits and sometimes we don't, which is just life.
Yeah.
Chi-Raq for me, as an actress, was very difficult because I'm from Chicago. I grew up in a very difficult area. And the script was written in prose, in poetry. It was very difficult to understand, and I didn't like the objectivity of women within the film itself. I think I understand what Spike Lee was trying to say, but I don't think that it came across in the way that
The delivery.
he had wanted it to.
Right. Because then basically the plot is there's so much violence going on. The women of the men who are the violent men in the film, the women agree to withhold sex to try to change the men's mind state. Is that a good way to put it? And is that what you didn't like about it? Of course, women being objectified in that manner?
I'm not for sure that is what the film actually was. I'm just not for sure.
Right.
If I saw the film and I saw it out of curiosity, but to this day, I still am not sure what was the film trying to say.
Understood.
Growing up in Chicago, I know Chicago. I grew up with vice lords and disciples, and some of them were my boyfriends.
Oh, okay.
Depending on
big folks, big folks. That's your boyfriend.
No.
Oh, okay.
Depending on the who I liked at the time.
You crazy. That's some Chicago stuff right there, y'all. Y'all didn't expect that, did you?
But it was about Chicago, but it didn't have a lot of Chicago in it.
Right.
It wasn't our flavor.
Yeah.
The gang leaders,
You mean Nick Cannon?
I'm not naming any names. I'm just saying that it when you grow up in that, you know that.
Right.
You know it.
Didn't look quite authentic.
No.
Mm-hmm. But speaking of an authentic Chicago film, let's talk about your big break, Cooley High.
Yes.
Please tell me about the director and how you ended up getting that role.
Michael Schultz. One of the greatest directors in the world.
Definitely.
Michael Schultz, Bill Duke, Ice Cube. He's really...
Yay.
Yes. But with my agent at the time did not want me to audition.
And how old were you?
I was 23.
When Cooley High?
When I filmed Cooley High.
Got you.
She said because they were looking for teenagers. And I said, I can play a teenager. And she wouldn't submit me.
Who's your agent?
No, I'm not going to tell you that.
All right.
And so I called the casting director and pretended I was her. And said, "Hi, I would like to submit Jackie Taylor."
That's how you do it.
And she gave her time, and I put my little two ponytails and my little bangs and my little curls, and went down there and auditioned and got the part.
Right on. And that started everything right there, huh?
Yeah, well, that started my film career. My acting career actually began with Free Street Theater, in their touring company. Right. In fact, my professor let me graduate from college while I was on the road with them.
Right.
You know, he didn't, with Free Street, he didn't chastise me or say, no, you have to be here and you have to finish. No, he said, no, this is what you want to do. This is what your studies were all about. And as long as you get me the assignments, you will graduate.
So you had people pulling for you, huh?
Absolutely.
Definitely. And people don't know how important education is in your life. Tell me about that just shortly. You know how education impacted your acting and everything else, because you're quite a businesswoman as well.
Right. My mother talked about education all the time and how important it was. And I always wanted an education. From grade school to high school to university, it's vital.
Yes.
And it never stops. You know, learning never stops. We always we're always in need of knowledge. Definitely. Always. Some people seek it and some people don't, but we all need it.
Definitely. All right, so tell me about your experience on the set of Cooley High. I'd like you to tell me about Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, Glenn Thurman, and my man, Rick Stone.
Rick Stone!
That's my main man.
Oh, I had a ball. I just had a great time. Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, who played Cochise.
Cochise.
My boyfriend.
Okay.
Glenn Thurman played the other major character.
Preach.
Preach. And Rick Stone played Stone.
Stone and Robert.
Right. Who were, Rick called me up, because we grew up together, Ricky and I.
Yeah.
He
Another
lived on
Chicago native.
Right. He lived on the first floor, and I lived right above him, and he and my brother were best friends.
Okay.
So we grew up together, and Ricky called me. He said, Jackie, it's this movie called Cooley High, and they want me to be in it. What do you think? I said, take your ass down there and be in it. What do you mean,
I
what
know.
do I think? You know, what kind of question is that? Yes, you can do that. Go and do that. He said, they want me to play a gangster. Play yourself.
I know, just be yourself,
Just
right?
be you. The biggest gangster in the building, okay?
Right.
I'm like, come on, Ricky.
Not to mention Stone.
Yep, bless his heart. He died soon after that movie. Just a tragedy.
Yeah.
But
What was his name?
Norman.
Oh, okay.
Norman. I don't know Norman's last name. Glenn and Larry, they were so gracious and wonderful. You know, not big head, not, oh, yes, I'm from Los Angeles, and I've done this on Broadway, and I've done this. They were so down to earth and so real and so loving and so giving. And after a while, they were in there, at least Glenn was reaching 30 or in his early 30s.
Wow. playing high schoolers.
Yes, but I mean, we all felt like kids, you know, and we all, because we were on set and we were playing kids,
Right.
we acted like kids.
Right.
So we just, but everybody was very professional. And it was a wonderful experience. And I thought naively that it was going to be like that in all the films.
Every film that you were in.
Right.
Absolutely not, huh?
Oh, no. I was hired as a cattle actress. And what that meant at that time is that you played whatever role they gave you.
Right.
And that was the black exploitation period. Cooley High was a fluke. It got in, but it wasn't the kind of movie that the studios wanted to do, because they felt that black people wouldn't support a positive film. We could only support drugs and prostitutes and the negativity that they wanted to.
And Black Caesar and those type of films.
That they wanted to exploit. But it was a very positive film.
Yes.
With a very positive message, written by I.M.G.O.D.
Yes, the writer or the inspiration for Good Times, correct?
Oh, Good Times. So many others. Sanford and Son.
Yeah.
If you name the black sitcoms of that time,
Exactly.
they came out of I.M.G.O.D's mind.
Right.
Now, Norman Lear got the credit,
Yeah.
but it was I.M.G.O.D. who created those ideas and those sitcoms.
Right. Norman Lear, the prolific producer, but like you said, they got all that from I.M.G.O.D.
Right.
And he definitely is an unsung pioneer in the field.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't get enough credit. And a Chicago native, of course.
And a Chicago native.
Speaking of Chicago natives and movies that snuck in, my friend and mentor, Sam Greenlee.
Oh my,
The
yes.
spook who sat by the door.
Yes.
It was a long time after I knew him, because of course, your friend Pomon Rami and me and Sam, or Sam and I, we were actually in the Real Black Filmmakers filmmaking group, and just thinking about that film. Tell me about Sam. I know you knew him, and
Oh yeah.
and just your experience with Mr. Greenlee.
He was a prolific writer.
Definitely.
Highly intelligent man.
Yes.
Highly. And sometimes when he spoke to you, you didn't know what he was saying and you didn't care. Because you just wanted to hear him talk and listen and try to glean from it what you could.
Definitely.
He was way ahead of his time.
That to write that and to spark the imaginations and the brains of young revolutionaries such as myself, and to have that black power culture just expand under his creation.
Right.
That is phenomenal. And it took me a while to figure out that he was actually the spook who sat by the door.
That's right.
Because he was in the military. And one thing I know about the military, they'll tell you they do one thing, they'll say I'm an analyst. But who knows what that means in reality. So I figured out the person he was talking about was himself. And of course, the way he delivered the message was through writing. So he didn't have to do the actions. The writing did the actions to spark those imaginations. Tell me about The Spook Who Sat by the Door. You love that film?
That's one of my all-time favorites. And I hope that young people today will look at it. It's going to last. It's so poignant. And it speaks to so much of who we are as African American people. And like I said, Sam was way ahead of his time.
He was.
He really was.
May he rest in peace.
And he will, but his film, it will get the recognition that it deserves. It's going to last.
And they put it in the Library of Congress.
Yes, they should.
So he's official, like a ref with a whistle. Speaking of official, let's talk about the historic Black Ensemble Theater. Please tell me how you decided to come up with this. How'd you get it done? Tell me about your first address, and then how you expanded to this building right here on 4400 North Clark on the north side of Chicago.
Well, when I was in film, and I'm still in film.
You
I
definitely
just don't
are.
have
You right now?
but it was such racism, and in order to, and I couldn't play those roles. The shooting the gun, the gangster's girlfriend, the prostitute, I just couldn't. I had taught thousands of kids about self-love, self-respect, honor, dignity, love of self. And they would not have been able to determine that that was Miss Taylor the actress, not Miss Taylor the teacher.
Right.
And everything that I had taught them would have went out the door.
You thought that would have compromised you, huh?
Absolutely. It would have. And I had transformed too many lives. I wasn't going backwards.
Right.
So I decided to develop something that would tell the truth about who we are as African American people, that would provide jobs for African American artists. And I decided I was going to start a company. And I named it the Black Ensemble after the Negro Ensemble.
Okay.
That Douglas Turner Ward created in New York.
Right.
But my generation was black.
Exactly.
So that's why it was called the Black Ensemble. I was walking down the street. I needed a theater, and I was walking down the street on Wells Street, which was around the corner from where my family lived, and there was a sign, theater for rent, big old sign. I said, oh, wow, here's my theater right here.
Right around the corner from your house.
Yep. And I went inside and I told the man, I want to rent your theater. He said, okay. Well, he took out a sheet of paper. He said, okay, the theater will cost you this much a month, the lights will cost you this much a month, the seats cost this much a month. If you're going to use the cash register and the blah, 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 that's going to cost you this much a month. So it comes to this much a month. And I said, can I borrow a sheet of your paper, please? And he gave me a sheet of his paper. And I said, all of this comes with the package. And this is what I'm going to pay you for the package.
Oh, wow.
Take it or leave it.
That's that Cabrini-Greene
I'm
upbringing,
telling you. He said, I'll take it.
All right.
I said, okay, thank you.
So that's how it started.
That's how it started.
Okay. Tell me, how has it been going as far as the Black Ensemble Theater since you began and since you expanded? What's your impact on the city and for young black actors?
Well, we have a great impact. Our mission is to eradicate racism. Okay. That's the mission that we started with, and that is our mission today.
Exactly.
So you can't have that kind of mission and not have an impact. Even just saying the mission has some impact.
Right.
So, we've had times where we haven't had money, where we have had money, where we hadn't had an audience. It's like anything else. It's been an up and down ride. But the key is perseverance. The key is trust in yourself.
Yeah.
Believe in that spiritual voice that is always connected to you, and keep moving forward. I mean, right now, this theater is 11 years old, but I'm thinking in terms of we've brought property around the theater, and we're going to create a village.
Okay.
And that village will have a performing arts center, technology center, affordable housing for artists, and retail. And all of that's going to feed into the Black Ensemble Theater so that it's not solely dependent on ticket sales and fundraising, but it has assets that will continue no matter who is here, no matter who is in charge.
Right.
The theater has a life of its own and will continue. So it's called Free to Be. That's the name of the village.
Free to Be.
We're in the process now. We finished buying the property.
Great.
And now we're in the process of development.
And when should this be slated to, be finished or,
Well, it's a
near
5-year
finished?
plan.
Okay.
And it took us 2 years to actually accumulate the property that we needed. And we're in 22 now, so I can honestly say by 2027 we'll be cooking with gas.
Oh man, I can't wait. I'm gonna move in and Free to Be. What neighborhood is this exactly?
Uptown.
Uptown, right on. Okay, so what's your favorite film?
My favorite film is Cooley High.
Right on.
That will always be my favorite film,
Yeah.
and not just because I was in it, but because of what it said and the time that it said it.
Yeah.
It showed us in a very strong, especially for Black men, very, very strong light. And the message is violence is ignorance. And I love that message.
Me too.
So that's my favorite, but my favorite now, I don't watch films very often because I get very wrapped up and affected by them.
Right.
And they've been quite violent. I still don't like how the strength of women is not portrayed as much as it should be. But my favorite film right now is Elvis.
Elvis, the one that just came out?
Yep.
Oh wow, okay. Right on. Wow, that just came out last week, huh?
Yep.
Okay, because you sound like my acting teacher, Linda Bright Clay.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Love Linda. Miss Bright Clay is an extraordinary teacher and actress herself.
Yes, she is.
And I've come to find out a lot of women in your position, actors from your era, they get impacted by these roles in a way that people may not know, and negatively due to the negative connotations of some of these characters. So I see that a lot. Speaking of negative, I wanted to ask you, the R. Kelly verdict, a Chicago legend himself, disgraced singer, of course, with the charges he have. He was just sentenced to 30 years. What's your thoughts on that, if you have any? Okay, next question. No, just wait. Did you know Mr. Kelly?
He came to the theater. I didn't know him personally.
Okay.
No. You do wrong, you do wrong. To do what he did in itself is a sickness.
Agreed.
It's a sickness. He's sick.
Yep.
And
He really is today, ain't he? Especially today.
yeah, I just, he's so talented and to that's all. I can't pass judgment.
Yeah, definitely.
All I can say is he is a very sick man and has been so for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And those ablers that surrounded him and allowed for this to go on and perpetuated it for all these years, they are sick too.
Definitely, I agree. And it's more rampant than people care to realize.
Absolutely.
Or accept or admit. Do you know Mayor Lightfoot? What do you think about her term? You're definitely a champion against racism. I see a lot of racism directed towards her and her, her term in office as Chicago's mayor. A lot of criticism, whether right or wrong. I see a lot of vitriol towards her. What do you think about Mayor Lightfoot and what's going on with the Chicago violence, et cetera, et cetera?
I think the Chicago violence is being politically infuriated.
Mm-hmm.
Any mayor of Chicago is going to have a difficult time. No mayor in my history has gone without criticism.
Yeah.
These problems that we have in this city have been created over centuries.
Yeah.
And it's going to take centuries to undo those problems. The systemic racism that exists, the separation that continues, the gentrification of our neighborhoods. A mayor cannot be everything to everybody.
No doubt.
And Mayor Lightfoot is black in a racist, sick world.
Mm-hmm.
She's a lesbian in a world that does not treat people who are different or who have sexuality that they may not agree with. They are not treated fairly.
Yeah.
And she inherited a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think under the circumstances, she's doing the best that she can do at this point. But even when you have a title, that doesn't mean that you have control.
Thank you for that, Dr. Taylor. Just 3 more questions. As a woman, the Roe versus Wade verdict being reversed, any thoughts on that?
Society is so sick right now. It's just sick. It's ill. The cancer grew, or the cancer was always there, but it let itself be known with number 45 in office, a racist, a bigoted, an anti-woman, an anti...
You could just say Trump.
Just sick. That was, I don't know how they maneuvered that, but that was maneuvered.
Yeah.
That whole thing was maneuvered.
Is it shocking to see that now after decades?
No.
What else would they
This
overturn?
is the land of America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't be fooled.
Exactly.
We're not. America is one of the sickest, racist countries that there is.
Yeah.
The only difference is we try to hide it.
Right. But can't hide it no more, huh?
Oh, God, no.
So before we go, we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank you again. I'm going to give a final conclusion. Just a couple of acting questions before we wrap this up. And thank you again. Stage fright. How do you overcome it?
You move through it. You don't overcome it. It continues no matter what you're doing. Anytime that you're doing anything that brings up that stress, that brings up those nerves, it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And you move through it. You don't allow it to control you. You control it. Okay. And you keep one step at a time. Just keep moving through it. Don't let the anxiety talk to you. Yeah. Ignore it. Mm-hmm. And do whatever that you need to do for yourself, whether it's breathing, whether it's thinking about lines, whatever it is that helps you to take the focus away from the emotions that are going to get in your way of progress. Okay. Then that's what you do.
Okay, thank you for that, because I'm an actor myself. Writer's block. How do you overcome that? You're a prolific writer. You have over 100 plays that you've wrote. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure you've encountered it.
Oh, absolutely. Every writer has writer's block. You
have to, right? I mean,
it's just a part of it. I mean, you're not going to be 100 all the time. Exactly. You're just not. And again, instead of fighting it, mm-hmm. you release it. Don't stress. Don't try to push through it. It's going to pass. Okay. It's going to pass.
Because, see, you said the stage fright to push through it, but the writer's block, not necessarily pushing through it. So it's a different approach.
It's a different approach. Mm-hmm. Because when you're writing, you're listening, you're hearing, and when that's blocked, you need a rest. Right. You need a stop. It'll come back. The skill will come back.
Mm-hmm. I thank you for that.
Before we go, I'd like to thank Ms. Gwendolyn C. for making this interview happen. The generous contributions of David and Doris Connor, Jason DJ Bills Burnett, the good people at the Black Ensemble Theater right here at 4450 North Clark Street in Chicago, Illinois, and you can reach them at blackensemble.org. So see a play today at the world-famous Black Ensemble Theater. Lastly, I'd like to truly thank the beautiful and the brilliant, the living legend, Dr. Jackie Taylor. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you for this interview. Okay, guys, this is the Megaphone with Russell Norman. This was our first episode with Dr. Jackie Taylor. Join me next time. Thank you, guys. Peace.